It's now time to tune into Folkways FM for October 2023's Almanac. The crew are currently somewhere near Stranraer, which comes from the Scottish Gaelic, meaning the broad headland or the fat nose. As usual, they've gone immediately to sample the public houses of the area. Hopefully, they've dried out enough to put this show together. Let's find out. Welcome to October's show. Here is Spellbound by Emily Bronte to kick things off. The night is darkening round me, the wild winds coldly blow, but a tyrant's spell has bound me, and I cannot go. The giant trees are bending, their bare boughs wade with snow, and the storm is fast descending, and yet I cannot go. Clouds beyond clouds above me, wastes beyond wastes below, but nothing drear can move me, I will not, cannot go. October from Octo 8. Old English Winterfulleth, and the Wine Manath. Welsh Hydref, Cornish Mishedra, Scots Gaelic Indafar, Irish Derafor, Manx Jerry Fowler. In both languages, this meaning the end of autumn or harvest. Recently, I've been looking back over old copies of Fiddler's Green, the beautiful zine from Clint Marsh and Co. There's an article I particularly like in issue 8, Ideal Hearts, by Lavanna Morgan, who writes of what we might call a consciousness shifting practice called sitting out. This is, quote, an ancient practice that dates from the times of Britain's Saxon and Norse forebearers and is frequently mentioned in old accounts. It is sometimes called hedge sitting or hedge riding. That's fantastic. At its most basic, the practice involves sitting in the landscape and communicating with that place. It can be used as a form of divination, asking questions and receiving answers, and much more. Like much of the old magic, Lavanna continues, sitting out is a deceptively simple process, but when done with intent and skill, it can produce the most profound results. Morgan then goes on to describe the practice. I won't give it away in full, as I'd love for you to go out and support Fiddler's Green by getting hold of a copy. But just to say here briefly that it involves, rather than emptying your mind, quote unquote, instead you drink in every detail of the quiet landscape you've chosen to sit in. You're not getting out of your mind, so to speak, but rather it's like the dial or the volume on the rest of the world getting turned up a bit. And it's in this state that flashes of inspiration, answers to questions, and even communication with spirits may be had. Morgan gives credit to the late Cecil Williamson, founder of the famous Boscastle Museum, for teaching her the practice, and she continues that choosing the right place for sitting out is crucial. As you look, take the old name hedge sitting, I love that, as an important clue, because the best places for sitting out are liminal spaces on the edge between one place and another. These boundaries might include hedgerows, riverbanks, the edges of woodlands, and the tide line. They are also the kind of places you can walk past without noticing them, almost as if they are not there. She continues, I live in the rural southwest, and I have several quiet places I like to go. One is on the margin of an old forest, another beneath a line of big hawthorn trees that must have once been a hedge between two fields, and another a quiet bit of seashore between two beaches. The reason I'm bringing this up is that Morgan speaks of noticing the changing personality of the landscape at different times of the year, and that, quote, "In the weeks leading up to Samhain, my place at the edge of the forest has a strong, dark pulse that I know will make for an intense experience." Prodding around these liminal spaces at this liminal time may be appealing to some of the Almanac's listeners, especially with the work the Folkways main show has done on liminality so far. And again, I'd like to direct you to Fiddler's Green Zine to enjoy Morgan's work in full. Happy hedge riding! If you woke up in Portishead at the beginning of October, you saw the sunrise at 7:15 and set at 18:45. Portrush, sunrise 7:30 and sunset 1900. And Perth, sunrise 7:20 and sunset 18:45. The moon is new on October the 14th. It will then be full again on the 28th of October, just in time for Samhain. This moon is known as the Hunter's Moon or the Blood Moon. This used to be the time we prepared for the coming winter by hunting, slaughtering livestock, and preserving meat for food, thus giving October's moon these names. The large constellations of Pegasus, Aquarius, and Pisces appear in the southeast soon after dark and now dominate the southern sky through the night. Looking to our hedgerows, find sloes this time of year. Of course, it is mushroom season. Find coconut-scented milk-cap, slippery jack, field and wood bluets, and meadow waxcap, amongst others. It is also chestnut season from mid-October, so bags and baskets at the ready. On November the 1st, it is the next cross-quarter date after Lunasa, Samhain, Calan-Gaeaf, or Halloween, the eve of which, October the 31st, is pretty well known. This is definitely the best time of the year, isn't it? I personally find there can be a bit of a stagnancy to summer, whereas this time of the year the world is in fast motion once again. I've been enjoying feeling the wind change this past month, and living out here on the water, it can get pretty biting. To anyone new to the show, Samhain or All Hallows was the old gateway to winter, a potent liminal time when communion with the ancestors and other spirits was believed to be possible. The veils are the thinnest, as they say at this time. Woo! You see this line repeated endlessly at this time of the year, from local newspapers to chic housekeeping magazines and fashion mags, where you'll get a kind of autumnal themed photo shoot. And in the text, you'll get this line, "Now the veils are the thinnest," woo, with a kind of orange and brown and camel themed clothes. And I've always wondered about this line, "the veils are the thinnest," because we never really learn any more than that. The veils between where? This is a part of our cultural heritage that is just spilled over just a tiny bit. The fact that that's even featured at all, for example, in a fashion magazine, might be of note. But I always find that interesting that this ancient festival of Samhain Kalengeya has made its way into mainstream culture, even in this watered down fashion. But yeah, just look out for it. The veils are the thinnest. Well, between where? Of course, if you're a listener to the Folkways main show, you'll have no trouble answering that question. This heightened link to the other side is why we have so many folk practices at this time period which focus on both connecting with the ancestors whilst also driving unsavoury ghosts, ghouls and goblins away from the threshold of the home. October the 31st, or Nos Calangaeaf in Welsh, Winter's Eve, was believed to be a somewhat dangerous time for this reason. And I would like to point you in the direction of 2 Folkways episodes that would make appropriate seasonal listening. Whilst you carve out pumpkins or make some toffee apples this month, finally getting rid of your back molars once and for all. Why not listen to Season 2, Episode 4, Dead Can Dance, where the show looks at the connection between the other world and the dead. In particular, you'll hear some slightly unsettling stories which are specifically based around this time period, the gateway to winter. Also, Season 2, Episode 5, where the liminal is discussed, and again, Samhain gets more than a few mentions. So, from now to the beginning of November, stay safe, avoid wandering off into the other world on the 31st, which stories tell us can be easily done. Don't leave us, we need you here. By the way, if the Folkways narrator, that's my second cousin, if she this might seem a bit out there, but if she said anything disparaging about me, I'm sure she didn't, but just in case she did, about my drinking, we've it's nothing. We've had a few disagreements about the amount of time the crew. It doesn't matter, but she said something about work ethic being a problem. We sometimes get inspiration. We like to check out the local scene, check out some of the local pubs, but it's not a big deal. But I just wanted, in case she'd said anything, it's not what you think. It's